For nearly 400 years, Solomon's temple graced Jerusalem as the sacred epicenter of worship, shaping almost half of the Old Testament narratives. Appreciating its profound location, historical importance, and intricate design enhances reverence for this holy site. Join us on a journey to unravel the truth of its history. But before that, if you have any preferable topics that you want us to cover next, let us know in the comments below. The person whose topic piques our interest will get a shout-out in that video. Let's get started. Jerusalem. Jerusalem, nestled amid three vital valleys, Hinnom, Central, Tyropoeon, and Kidron, features the pivotal Mount Moriah between the Central and Kidron valleys. Genesis 22, verse 2 links this mountain to Abraham's command to sacrifice Isaac, marking the region of Moriah. This connection with a momentous event underscores the Temple Mount's profound significance. History of the city. In the era of King David, Jerusalem, controlled by the Jebusites, occupied solely the southern part of the Central Ridge. Upon David's capture of the city around 1000 BC, he established it as his capital, relocating the Ark of the Covenant from Kiriath Jearim. Preparing to replace the portable tabernacle of Moses, used for over 400 years, David acquired the threshing floor of Araunah to expand the city's size. Situated on a hilltop higher than the city, this location became the chosen site for the Temple of the Lord. Under King Solomon's reign, construction of the temple commenced, culminating after 7 years around 960 BC. Modeled after the Tabernacle of Moses, the Temple of Solomon held symbolic connections to the Garden of Eden, leading scholars to posit that the garden served as the prototype for the tabernacle and subsequent temples. Tabernacle and the Temple. The tabernacle was divided into three main courts: the outer court, the holy place, and the Holy of Holies. The outer court represented the fallen world, while the inner courts represented a more sacred and holier way of life. In essence, as the high priest, who represented all of Israel, progressed through the tabernacle or temple, he left the world to enter a more holy state and then was enabled to re-enter the presence of the Lord, passing the angels or cherubim who were embroidered on the veil. Solomon's temple replicated this same three-level progression, doubling the floor plan size of the tabernacle sanctuary for the temple structure. Design and layout of the temple. Approaching the Temple of Solomon, one's gaze first falls upon the imposing brazen altar of sacrifice. This altar, measuring 20 cubits in length, width, and standing 10 cubits tall, a cubit being roughly 1.5 feet, showcased 4 horns at its corners, a symbolic representation of power. Here, sacrificial animals met their fate, foreshadowing the future sacrifice of Jesus Christ. Adjacent to the temple's southeast side stood the molten or brazen sea, upheld by 12 oxen, 3 facing each cardinal direction. Oxen, ancient symbols of strength, resonated with the number 12, representing the 12 tribes of Israel. Water from this sea flowed into 10 bronze basins on either side of the temple, facilitating priestly rituals and purifications. The south, west, and north sides of the temple housed 3 tiers of chambers or storage rooms. Adorning the temple's front were 2 prominent bronze pillars, Boaz on the left and Jachin on the right, topped with lily flower petals and pomegranates. The main doors, overlaid in gold, featured intricate depictions of cherubim, palm trees, and open flowers. Described in the Bible as a 4th part of the wall, scholars interpret the door's construction as having 4 stepped frames. This meticulous detailing reflects the grandeur and symbolism embedded in Solomon's temple. Who was allowed to enter? The inner sanctum of the temple, accessible only to the priests who symbolically represented Israel, highlighted the exclusivity of entry into the sacred space. Passing through the main doors led to the holy place, a grand room measuring 40 cubits in length, 20 cubits in width, and 30 cubits in height. Adorned with gold and embellished with cherubim, palm trees, and open flowers, the room's aesthetic may have echoed the beauty of the Garden of Eden. 10 large menorahs, 5 on each side, and narrow windows provided illumination, creating an ethereal ambiance. On the right side, the table of showbread displayed 12 sizable flat loaves. Sharing a meal held profound significance in ancient times, symbolizing peace, brotherhood, love, and forgiveness. Directly in front of the Holy of Holies stood the altar of incense, resembling the sacrificial altar with its square footprint and 4 horns at each corner. Each element within the holy place held symbolic weight, encapsulating the spiritual depth of the temple's design. Representation. While the altar of sacrifice consumed the flesh of animals, the altar of incense emitted a fragrant blend, symbolizing the sweet offering of prayers. Positioned before the temple veil, this incense mirrored the ascent of saints' prayers to God, underscoring the need for lives, prayers, and actions to be pleasing to the Lord before entering His presence. Accessible solely to the high priest and only on the Day of Atonement, the Holy of Holies required passage through a richly embroidered veil of purple, red, blue, and white threads, mirroring the high priest's attire, albeit without gold thread. Cherubim adorned the veil, guardians of God's dwelling place. The walls, adorned with cherubim, palm trees, and open flowers, also gleamed with gold. 2 grand cherubim flanked the Ark of the Covenant at the room's center, their wings spanning the entire space. This sacred chamber, enveloped in gold and symbolism, represented the dwelling of the Lord's presence and stood as the ultimate destination and destiny for all of Israel. Solomon's Temple, a cornerstone of Jerusalem, served as the dwelling place of the Lord. Its layout symbolized Israel's journey back into God's presence, emphasizing the need for the sinless Messiah's ultimate sacrifice, foreshadowing the cross, located just a short distance from this sacred mountain. That's all for today. Hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and press the bell icon for all future updates. See you next time.